Hi Stampers, this is Dawn and today we're going to make this fun fold card. We're calling it the double point fold card, and when you open it, it looks like that. And then I also added another layer on the back. So we're going to make this card today. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so for the base of the card I'm using the crumb cake, and this is cut at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then I have 2 pieces of Whisper White, one for the front and one for the back side. These are both cut at 4 by 5 1/4. And then I'm also using the neutrals, the 6x6 designer paper. This is the crumb cake color. I'm going to cut this and score it and fold it with you today, all right? We're using the Stitch So Sweetly. I use these two dies right here. So this is the largest scallop in the rectangle and the Stitch So Sweetly with the Early Espresso. And then the next size down with the Whisper White. Okay, so that's what I used for the front of the card. And then I went ahead and stamped and cut out already the cups with the Cup of Cheer dies, and these were in the holiday catalog this last year, so I'll have the item number listed below. And then also it coordinates with the Rise and Shine stamp set, which is the second release, one of the 3 stamp sets that is in that mini catalog for Celebration right now. So that's what it looks like. So we're using this stamp set, and you've got this, but first coffee, and then Make Today Amazing, and then also the little steam off the coffee cup. All right. So then let me show you the inks we're using. So using the Smoky Slate, the Crumb Cake, and then also the Early Espresso. And I'm going to stamp the cups and show you exactly what I did, all right? So let's go ahead and do that first. Okay, so I have a piece of Whisper White here for my scrap. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp the coffee cups. Bring in all the stamps here. So cute. Such an adorable stamp set. So the stamp set is reversible, and I'll show you what that means. So we're going to first stamp our cup with the little stars on it, I guess, with the Early Espresso. So I'm just going to ink that up. I'm going to go ahead. Oh, you know what I need is my Stampin' Pierce mat. Let me grab that. Okay, so I have my Stampin' Pierce mat. So since this is a photopolymer stamp set, there's no cushion in between the block and the stamp. So I want to add my Stampin' Pierce mat. I just covered mine with grid paper so it doesn't get all inked up. Okay, now we're going to grab our Simply Chamois. I have mine right here. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this, and this is where the reversible part of the stamp comes into place. So you just want to clean off this one side really nicely, and then we're just going to go ahead and flip it over. Clean that block off now. So with the stars on the one side, I'm going to go ahead and flip it over. And now we're going to stamp this side with the crumb cake. So you can see how it's reversible. All right, now we're going to go ahead and stamp our greetings onto our little layers for the front. So this is the Whisper White piece we're going to stamp on. So I'm going to stamp Make Today Amazing. We're going to use the Early Espresso for this as well. So make sure it's centered towards the bottom. Okay. And then for the inside of my card, I'll grab my Whisper White piece here. And I'm going to go ahead and clean my stamp, because I'm going to use the crumb cake, but I want the star part of the cup on the other side. Okay, so now we're going to flip this over. Okay, so we're going to stamp the crumb cake, but I'm going to ink it up and I'm going to stamp it off first. I'm going to stamp it right here in the center. Just like that. And then we're going to take this greeting here. You've got this, but first we're going to stamp that right over top of that cup with Early Espresso. And then I have the word coffee, because there's one that says tea as well. So we're going to use the coffee. I'm going to fill in that blank. Hopefully that's straight. Looks pretty good. And then we're also going to add our little steam off of the coffee cup. So we're going to use the smoky slate for that. And we're also going to stamp off. Okay, so this is going to be for the inside of the card. And then for the back side, we might as well do all the stamping now. So we're going to go ahead and stamp another cup with the crumb cake. And once again, I'm going to stamp off. And then stamp onto the bottom right corner. This is going to be for the back side of our card. We're going to add our steam. Stamp off. And then I got a little flower here. I'm going to add the early espresso for that stamp. Stamp off. Add the flower right to the handle. Isn't that cute? All right, now we got all our stamping done. Now we're just going to go ahead and assemble the card. But first we got to cut our designer paper. So let me grab our paper trimmer. Okay, so we're going to grab our 6x6 piece. And we're going to cut this at 4 inches. And then we're going to turn it on the 6-inch side, and we're going to cut this in 3-inch increments. So once you cut this 3, then this one should be 3 since it's 6. All right, so then this piece, we're just going to scoot this down to 2. And we're going to score. Oh my gosh, I almost cut. We don't want to cut. We want to score at 1 inch, but we're going to line this up at 2 inches. We're going to score. And then take the other 3-inch piece and line that up at 2 and score that. Okay. Okay, so you can save this piece for another card. And now we're going to fold on our 1-inch score lines. All right, now we're going to make the the double point pieces that are going to go for the card, for the top and the bottom. So on our folded 1-inch section right here, we're going to take the bottom section, we're going to fold this up till it meets that score line, and then fold the other one in, just like that. Do the exact same thing on this side. So they should meet in the center, and if they don't, you can always fold it over and then flip it over, and then you could cut that overhang. So let me grab my scissors. This one is overhanging just a little tiny bit because you don't want it to interfere with that fold line, because this is what's going to actually go on the card base of your Whisper White. So it should fold over really nicely. And then grab your bone folder and burnish those score lines. So this part lays really nice and flat. Okay, now let's grab our other pieces. We're going to take our Whisper White piece. Remember, this is going to be the center of our card. So we're going to layer these points onto this layer, just like this. So we have the top and we have a bottom section, just like this. But first we're going to go ahead and take our snail, and I'm going to seal down these points. Okay, so I went ahead and put adhesive on this 1-inch score line as well. So we're going to go ahead and put our points. Now I like to line up the score line at the very top of the card. So before sealing it down, line it up and so it sits right on that score line, and then press that 1-inch score line to the back. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing for the bottom side. And all I'm doing is I'm centering that 4-inch piece of designer paper onto the 4-inch piece of Whisper White. So you should have your finished inside of your card looking like this. Now we're going to take this section and add it to our crumb cake piece. So let me go ahead and put adhesive on that. looks really good. Okay, so let's take our bone folder again. It's going over the white cardstock, so I want to make sure that that folds over that really nicely. Okay, and then we're going to take our back piece. We're going to put this on the back side of the crumb cake. This piece would be for signing the card. And then also you could add another greeting as well. But for the front, you're very limited to what you can sign because with the front flap covering, not the whole front, but a majority of it, you still got the white showing. So I find that if you just add another piece of Whisper White to the back, then you can sign it the way you want it. All right, so now let's go ahead and add our Whisper White layer to our early espresso. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and add our cups. I'm going to add the crumb cake cup with the snail. And then we're going to pop this one up on dimensionals. Isn't that adorable? And then I went ahead and tied a bow. Now this is the 1/4 inch crinkle seam binding ribbon in the Whisper White. This is in the mini catalog right now. So I'm going to go ahead and add that with the liquid glue right to the handle here. So let me grab that. Use the multi-purpose liquid glue. You can add a little dab of glue right there. And then just stick that right into the glue. Hold it for a couple seconds. Then you can also trim the tails if you want, which I will once the card is finished. Okay, so while we let that dry, we're going to go ahead and add dimensionals to this top point right here. So we're going to add 1 to the center, right down by the point, and then 2 above that. And then we're going to go ahead and take our layer and put that right in the center of those points. Isn't that cute? Then you open it. You've got this, but first coffee. Then you can flip it over and have another place to sign. All right, so let me go ahead and trim these tails. Okay. So adorable. And then here's the other one. Okay, so if you have any questions, just let me know, and I'll have all the items listed below. And then don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss any future videos. Okay, thanks for stopping by. We'll see you later. Bye.